Hello, friends. How are you today? I'm really excited to be here with you today and to talk about this amazing image that we saw in the Schumann resonance charts. So I'm going to go through the black charts with you because there were some very interesting movements in frequency, amplitude, and quality. And then I'm going to give you my intuitive hit and take on this energy. If you like the video, if you could like it for me, that'd be wonderful. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell. That would be super, and it helps support my channel. Okay, so we're talking about the Schumann resonance, and that's an energy that is in the non-physical all around us throughout the atmosphere between 0 and 40 hertz, which happens to mirror human brain waves. For that and other reasons, I view it as a map of human consciousness. So let's see what happened, and we're going to focus just on this part of the chart here, even though today has data in it. I just want to focus on this because after this happened, everything just calmed way down, and I think this is the really important thing. So I really took a close look at these black charts, and I wanted to show you something. It's really interesting. I have been talking about the frequency ranges expanding. You know, they've been going really to the high end in green and yellow. In fact, we're at 14.6 here in the high end of the frequency range in yellow, but we've been up to 15 recently, which is very high. So we've been having these highs in yellow and in green. But today we're up at 20, or during this event, we're up at 28.6. And that was, that's very high into the range. And see, look here. Look how it was extended for at least 4 hours that we were experiencing this. Now, let me explain what I feel that this frequency ranges of the resonances are about. And I'm referring to the resonances by color, but basically the true description of them is the numbers in this range here. The resonance between, 12.7 and 14.6 hertz. But obviously having the colors to differentiate is why the graph is done this way. So here's the thing. I view these ranges as slices of the human experience here in the frequencies. White being kind of a celestial, expanded experience for the human experience. And white also includes the natural frequency of the earth. Red here I view as the denser emotions, the shadow aspect of the personality, the forces of darkness on the planet, but also our passion and the anger that in a positive way motivates us, right, to set boundaries or to drive forward in our lives out of dissatisfaction, or to make that ends up where we make positive changes. Even that, in my view, is in the red, but also in the yellow. And the green being the average sort of take on humanity. Where's humanity at this point in time? And the yellow being the astral, in my view, the closest to the human body and human experience, and the non-physical, right, closest to the human body, which in my view includes emotions, thoughts, dreams, ghosts, that kind of thing, psychic experiences, or what is termed that, the clairs, I think also clairaudience, clairvoyance, etc. Okay, so what you see here is this big spike up. And so to me, what this means is we had an extended period. First, we tested the waters. Okay, then we tested them again. Then once that big white rod of light came through from 0 to 40 hertz all at the same time, we zoomed up and had an extended experience at the high end of the range. Now, what exactly is that? I don't know. I'm learning about it with you. What did you feel when this was happening? I'll tell you in my intuitive hit how I feel that this expresses, because it's interesting when we get expanded frequencies, like we get white waves on the chart and so on, what will happen is you will see there be a dip at that time in the frequency ranges. And it's almost like the expanded experience brings us to the low end of the ranges across the board in the frequencies. And what does that do? I think it helps us process, like if we have light come into our life from a spiritual experience or even from a knowledge experience, a mental, or we get emotional clarity on something, then we can see that and address that. And so I think that partly that's what these white resonance waves do. They support us, in my view, they support us in life, in expanding our consciousness and our spiritual embodiment here on earth as human beings. It doesn't matter if you're spiritual or not. The light is still present. And we don't have to label these things to have the experiences. So to then have this rise up, it would sort of imply an expanded experience within the green. Okay. I think it implies like bravery. It implies the courage to have an expanded experience of a new way of living, or an expanded way of living, or an energy that supports us having insights, an energy that supports us having, new mental discoveries, spiritual connection with God, your own soul. These kinds of across the range of human experiences, expanded experiences, I think that's what this is about. And it matches with my interpretation of this image, which I believe looks like the human form here. This whole thing to me looked like, here's the tailbone, the spine, and the lungs here, which have been the lungs in particular, the ribs, the nervous system. We've been in 3 years of illness, people going through illness, but people also going through psychological effects. And so I see this as we lifted ourselves up out of this and in the frequencies. And what did that was this rod of energy here. And it started here. Okay. It started here. And you can see how the energy just kind of like comes out of nowhere on the chart and just boom, it's this curtain of something different, a different experience. So I'm going to explain the rest of this in a second, but let's go to the amplitudes. Now, the amplitudes were strong, but they were sort of supported and strong across the board. Like, let me show you this. See here, 52, which is a good solid amplitude number. It's not super high. But then see how 40 is right behind it? It's essentially like about 4/5, right? About 80% of the level of the white amplitudes. And if you remember from a recent discussion I had about amplitudes, yellow was, I think it was 2/3 the level of white. So you see yellow relative to the white here is stronger than we've seen in previous spikes. And then you can see here the red, there's about a doubling of this number to get to the white amplitude and about a doubling of green, but usually green drops off quite a bit after red. So that didn't happen this time. There was a lot of support in terms of power and energy for these frequencies on this chart. And so what that says to me is there was like a strength of support, like a coming together of the energy. And that, in my view, helps support the expanded points of view, the expanded experience, the expanded consciousness that I feel is represented on this. Now, the other really interesting thing happened. You had this spike in amplitudes here where that white rod of light came from 0 to 40 hertz. So when that white rod of light happens like that, okay, on the chart like this from 0 to 40, think about what's happening here. We are getting across our brain waves from 0 to 40 hertz, right? So from our unconscious, our subconscious, waking, all the levels of thinking, and then into the beta, into the gamma range, which is the spiritual experience. So you did have white go all the way through, although it changed to green and there was some other stuff going on there. But this happens like all at once. And you can see it lasted for like 1 or 2 hours here. Yeah, a good solid hour. And when this happens, it's my view that it, like, we align around this energy. I'm talking about this rod of light here. I've talked about these themes recently, but to me, these are 2 separate events. Okay, there's the background image of the red, and then the human backbone, essentially. And then these rods of light have been repeating periodically, maybe like once every 3 days or so, maybe once every 2 or 3 days. So I've said that this energy can go around the earth, and it's possible that this is a repeating energy that's going around the earth and maintaining, a fairly strong amplitude while it's doing that, which is actually, if that's what's happening, that'd be very interesting. Now, what I said before about this white rod is it's like a stake in the ground. Like, you see, it's like this expanded light. It's like a bell ringing, a pleasant bell that's very attractive, right? For an hour. And what happens is it calls to you. It calls to something in you, right? Because this resonance is going through all the brain waves at the same time. So no matter where you are in life, no matter what you are doing, you are experiencing this, whether you're sleeping or whether you're, critically analyzing something, whether you're working out, whether you're, day to day interacting with people, whatever's going on. Okay, this is going through our whole range of experience for an hour, all of us together, right? And to me, it aligns us with what's highest within us, no matter for the person in general, whatever their orientation is. That's what this type of expanded energy and experience does, in my view. And some people are going to turn away from that. Some people are going to shy away from that. How could that happen? Let me show you. Like in the frequencies here, okay, let's say that an individual choice is, I'm really not comfortable, okay, at this end of, this is some brilliant this is some brilliant analysis here. I don't think you'll have heard this anywhere else. So listen up, okay? I have not said this before in my videos. So I really want to passionately share this with you. Let's say, okay, that as an individual, a person is just like, no, I'm not ready for this. So here's what their choice is. Their choice then is to focus in their life on the red range of human experience or the yellow range of human experience. And here is the divine. I feel like the divine is, this is the expanded energy. It's always backing us up, okay? Whatever we choose, it's going to just provide support. That's what I feel like that it is. I mean, this is also, as I said, the natural frequency of the earth. The earth supports humanity. Our bodies are literally made out of the earth. Okay, we are the living planet, really, in human form. Anyway, that's maybe an out there concept, but that's what we are. It's just the most amazing thing when you think about the food you eat, everything. It's from the planet, and we are the planet animated by the soul. Whoa, that's cool. Okay, but anyway, so listen, here's the point. In the ranges of experience, the human being has the choice, right? So I can choose to be part of this, woo, we're all grooving together at these high frequencies, okay? But if that's too much for me as an individual, then I can dip down. You see what red was doing? It was dipping to the low end of the range here. Okay, so it was experiencing more of a dip. So, and the same thing with the yellow, which in my view is the astral. So some of us were having expanded experiences, but some of us were dipping down, right, into our thoughts or emotions. And right now, this is a really intense time to do this. If you're going into really processing things like grief or shame or blame or or you're angry about something, this is a time where the energies are amplifying these things beyond the norm, and in a way that, in my view, doesn't show on the chart in terms of the frequency ranges. Like the red isn't dipping like way down to something crazy. But what I'm saying is that it's kind of like the idea in astrology of Jupiter, where Jupiter expands things. So because the green offers the expanded experience at the same time that red is dipping, that yellow is dipping, your grief can be expanded. Your grief can be expanded. Your self-blame, your self-criticism can be expanded. Your anger can be expanded. Your fear can be expanded. It's kind of like the high road or the low road. We can choose to be on the fast track to processing that stuff out. And I'm going to explain that in the intuitive section. Okay, but if we get mired in these things right now, it is really intense and it's really challenging emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. It is challenging across the board right now. It's just amazing. All right, now we looked at the amplitudes, okay, and I thought it was interesting that during that 2 hours of elevated frequency, there was a double spike in green. And again, to me, saying that it's the green is the operative behind the scenes force here. Okay, this was for humanity, like humanity uplifting itself. At the same time, those who don't want to be uplifted, who don't want to take that road, right, the high road, if you will, then they're going into this deeper experience of really being stretched. And there's the power for it too, right? Like I talked about, the green, the red did not drop off relative to white and yellow like it normally does. So the last thing let's look at is the qualities. And what you see here is you see a big spike before this happens to 22 in red, and you see a spike. This isn't really anything because it's just to 11.9 and white is low. But I often say this, the darkness rises before the light. So maybe people had triggering going on, okay? And then you go into the experience and you decide, how you're going to handle it. But what really spiked here during the experience I'm describing is green. And what happened was, in the qualities, which in my view is like the quality means the closest to the pure natural frequency. Okay, so when frequency goes through physical matter, it creates a vibration, and the vibration can have distortions in it depending on, depending on many factors. Like, let me give you an example. If I'm a human being. Okay, now let's say that I have trauma in my past history, and let's say that I've got a lot of emotions about it. Let's say it's even still raw. All right. So now I've got thoughts about it, and it's really it's really getting to me. I'm really just deep in the trauma still. Well, the natural frequency of my soul that comes through the soul connection that, in my view, animates the life force of the body, the quality of that is going to be, if it could be measured, okay, is going to be lower than if I wasn't in the midst of processing a trauma. Okay, now let's say that I'm someone who's done a lot of, personal growth work. And by the way, even if you've done a lot, there's times when it just hits you and you're right back in there, right? Because it seems like there's always something. But basically, let's say I'm at a point where I've achieved peace, right, in my field. Maybe I'm in the midst of that prayerful, wonderful feeling of a prayerful connection with God, the Most High, the Creator of the universe, the source of all that is. Let's say that I'm able to achieve a centered state, a meditative state for an extended period of time. I'm grooving on that, and I feel good and I feel centered. Let's say I'm an energy worker. I'm an in 0 point. Okay, I'm actually able to live it for an extended period of time. Okay, now, in my view, the quality of my natural frequency is going to come through as higher. Why? Because I'm able to bring that pure soul connection. There's not grief in the way. There's not blame in the way. There's not drama in the way. But here's the thing. I'm not saying that emotions are bad. I'm not saying we all need to be Vulcans. Because, see, you can act from your passion and be guided from the soul. In that instance, in my view, the quality theoretically would be high. Right? If I'm acting from my passion, and there's even, righteous anger that comes from God, that comes from, like, the soul is offended by something. And so that comes from the soul. And sometimes, for example, fear is meant, when it's pure natural fear and where it's not trauma related, it shows us, hey, something's wrong and we need to address, physically, do I need to move? Whatever's going on, and then give the excess to God. So I want to honor the emotions. I want to honor the mind, right? Because there's a similar process of the mind being involved in thinking about these things or creating behaviors about these types of things. And so that covers the range of human experience, right? Our celestial, like, here's our mental, emotional, in my view. This is also the emotional or deep, thoughts that are tough, that are in negative loops. And then the quality of the human experience. Well, the quality of the human experience is up here spiking over 30, which is the normal high. Here's 24. Okay, so we get extended spikes during this elevated frequency experience. This is bravery, this is courage, this is the soul coming through and speaking to you, and maybe even like cradling you if you're one of the humans that chose to focus on your deep red or your deep yellow. So I'm tying this together in a new way. Like, I actually, doing this video, am having all these insights that were things that were in the back of my mind. And as I'm speaking to you right now, they're coming together. And I've felt bad and pressured myself, because coming out of this breathing illness, it's been kicking my butt. Okay, and I don't have my normal energy levels. So I didn't do this video yesterday because I already had done all this other work and I just couldn't do it. I only have a certain number of hours, right, where I'm up, and then I have to really physically let myself rest and still heal from this. So I apologize for that I didn't bring it out earlier. But here's the thing. Sometimes when we take a rest, a flood of insights and things come to us. And that's kind of like this, what I was saying about the darkness rising before the light, right? So you go through something, you get triggered, and here, it rises in yellow. So we have the deep density rising within us, coming through, and then in the non-physical, the astral, right, which is kind of a partner. They're close together as well. And then you get some time, right, between these events, and then suddenly we have the opportunity to open ourselves up to all these insights. Gosh, that's just what happened to me on this video. It's so awesome. Okay, now let's look at the intuitive analysis here. Excuse me. So this is what we're doing, okay? And I want to show you there were these little glitches. I think this happened for 2 days, okay? And it's so interesting because here it is between 8 and 9, and then here between 8 and 9, we had the first red blob on the chart. It's really interesting. They're these blobs. They almost look like a figure 8, right? Like a round piece here, a round piece here, less in the middle, and then 2 spikes. Both of them sort of have that shape here. And then here's a third one. Okay, so here's what I want to say about my intuitive analysis about this. So this is a template for healing, in my view. And friends, it's a new method for healing. And this is something I have been working actively on during my illness. And it's essentially miraculous healing or instant healing. And you bring in your intention, right? Your spiritual, your soul connected intention. And you open to the concept of miracles. You allow that a miracle can happen, that something could just leave, that something could just go away. And I'm going to explain how that could be the case and how, in my view, the chart shows us this. So here's what is to the left is heavier or in the past, in time, okay? So here I am, the person. Here's my backbone. My back is facing us. Okay, the back is facing us. Here's the pelvis and the tailbone area is facing us. Here, in my view, here's the ribs. Okay, the first set here, the second set here. I don't know. Maybe this is the heart and diaphragm, but at any rate, so here's the whole rib area. This is protecting, I don't know, the organs, and then you've got this long stretch here between all these upper organs, and then the pelvis, where there's the intestines in here. That's how I see this. So here's what happens. You have the body. You make a declaration. The density of the body peels off. The density of the body peels off. The density in the body peels off. In alignment with our highest health, in alignment with the highest good, in alignment with divine will through the living human, in alignment with the person's soul, chosen soul journey, chosen soul path. It happens 3 times, okay? 3 is a magical number of creation for the earth element, okay? It represents creation on earth, okay? So what do you... Now I'm seeing the faces in this, looking here, the old man here with something wrapped around his head, looking straight at us here. This is where his mouth is. There's some other face here. This one's looking to the right. I don't know if it's a person, if it's ancient. There seem to be horns of some kind here, so I don't know if it's an animal or if those are just ears. But anyway, you can definitely see some interesting images if you lift your vision and when you lift your vision and then allow things to come together. There's also the images of 2 people here in blue. See, 1, 2. You've got the head, the body here, and then narrowing to the legs down here for each of them. Okay, so I'm the human being. Here's the body. It's spread out across the chart. It's expanded. Okay, we're taking a closer look within. Let's say that this is illness. Let's say this is damage of some sort from some unknown cause in the body. And I declare that this layer of energy that includes the damage, that includes the illness, that includes the effects that are not in alignment with my highest good, my highest health, my highest outcomes. I declare that these layers are given to God miraculously. Okay? So how can that happen? Everybody talks about the fact, or many light workers talk about the fact that we are multi-dimensional beings. If I'm a multi-dimensional being, and now my body is under physical illness, then I have a layer, right? I have a layer that is what that is, okay? You know, I don't know how it's represented on the frequency, amplitude, and quality charts, but let's say it's represented there. But it's a layer of the dimensional state that is me. I peel it off, kind of like the concept of peeling off veils. So remember, now this is important, okay? This is a new healing methodology that I am sharing with you. This is actually what I have done during my illness. And then I see it on the chart here. That's pretty cool, okay? So I peel off the layer, okay? The first layer has much more energy. I peel off the layer again. The second layer is it's just denser, okay? The light is all through it. And this is exactly what I talked about in my workshop class this past week. Bringing light to the dense astral layers and lifting them off. It's similar to lifting off veils, but this time we're intending that the physical energetic state reverts to my divine blueprint, okay? The physical energetic state that this represents, okay? And the layers of energy in it that require healing. Here's all this yellow, red, orange, all wrapped together in this big puff cloud of what is happening in the body, okay? What is happening in the body, in the lungs? What is happening in the body, in the central nervous system? What is happening in the digestive system? What is happening in reproduction down here, okay? Down at the pelvis and the sacred creation, right? Fertility for men and women. The third time, I bring the light, I remove the dense layer, and I am restored. My physical body is restored through this light healing. Now, there are people that use healing technologies. They use Rife machines, they use, frequencies that are emitted, and all that stuff is great. Okay, I'm guessing. I mean, I don't use it. It doesn't really resonate with me, but I think that's because I'm on a different path. I'm on the path I'm on the DIY path, do it yourself. So what I do is I lie down, I sit down, I meditate, I call in the frequency that will remove the layer, okay, that will dissolve the spikes in alignment with my highest good, my highest health. That will dissolve anything in the body, particleize it in a way that is in my highest health, that promotes life, that promotes my life and my soul's journey in this body. Okay? And now, do I back it up with physical healing for the body? Yes. Are there physical alternative medicine things I did? Yes. Are there physical allopathic things I did with a doctor? Yes. Okay. So I'm not going to give up any tools that I have when I'm working to achieve my highest health. Okay. I pick from all the tool sets what I'm guided in the moment, and I do that. So I value and honor medicine and working with that in my healing process, okay? But this is what I'm saying, that it's time to add the spiritual to this process. It's time to address, if we really believe, okay, if you're this far with me in the video, and you really believe that you are a multi-dimensional being of light with a living soul that is capable, that is capable of miraculous healing, that is capable of miracles, that emanates from the light, living light of God itself, then this healing I'm describing is entirely possible. And let me tell you something. I want to address the fact that I've said, that that this recovery has been really challenging for me. Number one, I waited 1 whole week to address the situation, which was, I knew better. Okay, I knew better, and I didn't do it. So that's number one. Number two, I addressed the situation immediately when I saw I got to take these actions, okay? And I put it on my Telegram, what I did, but now that's gone. But I contacted, the right people who gave me the prescriptions I needed and all the rest of it. Within 3 days, 5 days, definitely, this thing was knocked out, okay? And my fever was gone. I think my fever was gone within, after 5 days, 5, 6, 7 days, my fever was gone. This is very, very rapid healing for what I'm dealing with. Now it's been a week of, I've got to keep attending to myself, stop pushing myself to let me do other things. And I had an exposure. I had an exposure to family members in a closed area that all have made certain medical choices, okay? As soon as that happened, I had to deal with my body's reaction to that. And so now I do this process again this week. So that's why it's been taking this long, but the initial process of healing was extremely rapid. Why? Because I'm doing this kind of ground level. I can have a miraculous healing in this physical body. And let me tell you something. I know multiple people, okay? Some I've been close friends with, or still am close friends with. Some that I've just met over time that have had miraculous healings from, stage 4 cancer, okay? And these things are possible. Miraculous healings are possible. And in my view, it's time to bring God back into healing. It's time to bring praying for others back into healing and praying for ourselves. This is essentially a prayer for the self. Okay, so let's just repeat how this works. Number 1, okay, I have the situation. I make a declaration about it for myself. I will, my body and its I will ask the divine in me, and I will do everything to support this for healing better than I was before, back to a state of the divine blueprint underlying the physical expression of my body. I ask for that to be renewed, reestablished in me. So I'm not just talking about this illness I'm recovering from. I'm talking about I'm letting go of the grief, the anger, the fear, whatever. All of that. If I'm reestablishing the divine blueprint, that's a level of healing, right? That I'm looking for. And it is possible. Because you know what? I want to live and enjoy life. I deserve that, right? I deserve that as a living soul that's making these consciousness leaps. And it's fun. And I want to play with this. And I want to do more. I want to do more than I have before in my life related to, living, friends, my work, etc. I'm excited. So I make that commitment. And then I do a process where I allow what is not in alignment with my highest good to be peeled off by divinity. In alignment with my highest health, in alignment with my highest outcomes. The energy in me, and even I'm talking in physical manifestation, it particleizes, it becomes something that can easily leave my body, that can be eliminated in alignment with my highest health, in alignment with grace and ease through me. And then I do it again. And then I do it again. And I repeat my commitment, right? So you see how I'm moving back in density here. And even from that density, I repeat, right? That connection, that desire to manifest my highest health in a miraculous healing that I know is possible. Because if I ask my soul to restore the divine blueprint for me, underlying this physical form in my alignment with my highest health, thy will be done, right? Thy will be done. I say to my soul, to the Christ within me, to God the Most High, the creator of the universe, in alignment with my highest good, thy will be done. But this is what I'm asking for, that I want to co-create with you, my soul, right? With you, the Christ light. And I am seeing Jesus here, right? With you, with God the Most High, the creator of the universe. Okay, let's do this. Let's be brave in what we ask for. Let's be bold. Let's bring to earth, let's be on earth what Jesus Christ said was possible. This you will do and more. Well, how do we do that? Here's one method. I humbly assert to you that this is a method for miraculous healing. This is a new methodology.